All right, what's going on, boys? Akron here. So today's video, I wanted to talk about something that is kind of weird. So Voyd released his album 2 years ago, and just before recording this video, I was just kind of quickly looking at some stuff, and I fell upon a bunch of lists of Dubstep album, and none of them fucking mention Voyd Volume 2, which is crazy to me because it feels like the only real dubstep album. So this is Voyd Volume 2. So this is what the album is. So it's 18 tracks, and then we have, some act separations. This album feels like it actually tells a really comprehensive story. And especially if you dig into some of the lyrics here, it's pretty interesting, right? I'm not going to play any of it, sadly, because, YouTube and shit. Copyright stuff, but if you go through the entire album, which I will probably do in a future video, because this is super interesting to me, how Voyd kind of made this album into, he has an overarching message, right? And it's really cool, and I feel like most dubstep album don't. It's not that you necessarily need to have an overarching message, but it fucking helps, man. And I don't know, I thought it was completely crazy that most people do not include this album on their list of top dubstep things. That seems crazy to me that you wouldn't include it. But yeah, this came to mind because I saw Voyd recently. I saw him last Sunday at Ilsonic, which was a really fun time. His set was super cool. I'm gonna put some videos of the set right now, so you'll be able to see. It was a really cool set. I actually missed the part where he flew like a bat on stage because I didn't stay in the crowd too long because it was really loud, kind of worried about my hearing, so I kind of left and went to the side stage. And during that time, he came out as a bat and flew. So whoops, kind of missed that. But hey, music was really cool. I enjoyed it. He also played Knock Loose, which was fucking hilarious for me. I was like, what the hell? That's crazy. But he was pretty much the only artist that I was super excited to see at Ilsonic because his style and the way he does everything is so different to everything else, which is obviously good because if everything sounds the same, then nothing sounds the same. So if everybody was copying Voyd, then Voyd kind of has no point to exist. So that's something that I get, and I totally understand that. But it felt like when I went to Ilsonic, I could have replaced any artist with any other artist, and it would have made pretty much no difference. Which is why I think this album is so interesting to me. The Voyd Volume 2, it's the only piece of dubstep music that we have that sounds like this and probably will ever sound like this. I don't know that anyone could ever even come close to making this. And I think the most interesting part about this album is that you have dubstep with 1, weird song structure, 2, pushes boundaries in terms of sound design, but also holds back sometimes, right? You have this crazy stuff going on, but sometimes not. Sometimes it's more chilled and pulled back. Just looking through the track list, it's not a perfect album, but that's kind of its charm a little bit to me. Is I like when artists do things that I don't like because it means that they tried something. They tried something and it didn't work for me, but I know that it worked for somebody. And looking at the album, there's not many tracks that I don't like. And, some of my favorite tracks are really surprising. One of my favorite tracks on the album is Twilight Reflector. And a huge part of it is this giant snare drum that is probably plus 12 dBs over anything else in the mix. And I probably shouldn't work, but it does, and it's great, and it sounds, I can say now that it sounds great live because I heard it, and it was really good. It was really good. I'm definitely going to make a more comprehensive video about this album. I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts out on this album fresh off seeing Sudden Death. I thought that was really cool. Should say Voyd because that's what I saw. I didn't see the back-to-back with Eptic, but I only really cared about Voyd because he's pretty much one of the only dubstep artists at this point that really interests me anymore. I think that unfortunately for me, dubstep is in a super weird place. So this album was like released 2 years ago, and it really doesn't feel like anything has come out since that, one, could even compete with it, and two, will ever compete with it, right? Like, there's a lot of good artists out there, right? Like, if I look through all these likes, and also, like, I haven't really even liked that much music in the last, like, couple years. So unfortunately, like, kind of my love for dubstep has been fading slowly, which kind of sucks. But honestly, it's okay. Like, I'm always gonna have Voyd's album to go to, and hopefully someone eventually will kind of listen to that album and kind of figure out, like, holy shit, let's take this and push it further. I don't know if that's my job. I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, for me, like, it's kind of the pinnacle of modern dubstep, I'll say. I can't really speak to the super early eras of dubstep. I really didn't listen to it, and even now, like, if I go back and try and listen to it, it's just not that interesting to me. But that's not the kind of dubstep that I joined the scene for, so it makes sense that to me it wouldn't quite do it. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think it is, but it's not for me. But yeah, I think hopefully, like, what an album like that can teach the dubstep, like, audience as a whole and producers is that you can take risks and you can go outside of what you think the quote-unquote rules are of making dubstep is. And I think that's what Voyd tried to do with this one, and I think he achieved it, right? I think this track right here, Act 4, if I know my Roman numerals, is like this cool acoustic thing the whole way through, and it's really nice, right? And I don't know how much he gets to play it live, probably not much, which is unfortunate. But another thing that I think is really lacking in the dubstep scene as a whole is I went to see like a few dubstep artists at Ilsonic this weekend, and most of it was drop, 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 drop. Maybe like an intro break for like, I don't know, 16, 32 bars, and then right back into this like drop, 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 right? And I get it, it's a festival. I'm a little bit older now, so that sort of stuff doesn't appeal to me as much anymore. I'm more interested in like the journey that you can take me through music. That's what I try to do with my sets, and I don't think that there is a right way to do it, but that is the way that I find the most interesting, because it's like setup, payoff, right? Tension, release. And it just doesn't feel like there's enough tension building anymore in sets or even in like modern dubstep music. So yeah, I hope to make more videos about Voyd Volume 2. I'm going to have another video about what I thought, what were like two of my favorite albums or EPs from I believe it's 2020. Let me see. I just have to go to Calcium's page because I thought these were like super incredible at the time, and I still do now. They still like really hold up. Yeah, so 2 years ago, so 2021, I guess, or it could have been like late 2021. But anyways, Deep Streets and I believe Cross Dissolve. Those were like two of my favorite EPs. I remember it. They came out like right before I was playing Origins Festival, which was like a super fun fest to play, and I was just blown away by those two like back-to-back EPs. And I actually saw Calcium at Ilsonic, and I mean, he didn't really play those tracks, and I think part of why he doesn't necessarily play them is that they're kind of in weird BPMs that is kind of hard to reach, and I think he had like a bunch of new stuff that he wanted to test out. But yeah, it's hard too, because like you don't want everyone to sound like Voyd, but at the same time, it's kind of like everyone feels like they're doing the same thing. And I am also guilty of this, by the way. I'm not like exempt from any of the criticism that I'm giving the dubstep scene. I am part of the problem, I would say. I'm trying to move away from that though, as much as I can, and like realizing some of the things that I don't like about where the dubstep scene has gone over the last like few years. I'm trying to kind of course correct my career project, whatever the fuck, to kind of better suit where I would want the dubstep scene to be in future. And yeah, I hope to still in some way, shape, or form be making like dubstep-ish on the next album. I have picked a date for my first album release date. It's going to be October 31st. So that's super exciting. I worked like 2.5 years on it, and I was kind of in over my head the entire time. But I learned a lot from it, and though I can't say that it will ever compete with Voyd Volume 2, I can say that I'm really proud of it, and that everything that I learned will be taken into the next album. I think I'm pretty much giving myself like 3 years to get everything ready to be able to write the next one, and also like make sure that I actually have something to say, because I with the first album, I had kind of this deep passion for like Dante's Inferno, and that was like really interesting to me, and so that's what I wrote the album about. With the second one, I mean, I don't even have a concept for it yet, so but I have ideas of kind of where I want to take the sound and what I want to do with it, and it's probably going to be, there's definitely going to be way less dubstep, because I think I've been producing dubstep for like 4 years, and at some point, like, you know, it's like 4 years, I have 53 tracks on here, not all of them are like released or whatever, but it's going to be probably by the end of my quote unquote like dubstep career of like producing mainly dubstep, it's probably going to be around like 60 to 65 dubstep tracks that I've released. So it's like, I don't know, it's like I don't know how much more I can really do with that genre at that point, you know, without blending it with a lot of other things, which is pretty much my intention by the end of it. But yeah, this was a bit more like off the cuff, but I'm just really happy that I finally got to see Voyd after so long of wanting to see him and just not having the opportunity to do so. I think he was like near where I was like a few times, but it just never lined up properly, and then this time finally it lined up, and yeah, it was a really good show. I'm really not disappointed that I went. He was obviously my favorite artist to see at the festival, and I just thought it was a really different experience to any other show that I've been to, which was really cool. He was wearing this like insane like chrome mask. Oh my god, that thing was so nice. It was so cool to see. I don't know, maybe I can find a picture, but that thing was like really fucking cool. Yeah, there it is. Dude, that thing is so cool. It looks so good too, with like all the lights and everything. Dude, I had no idea that this was a thing, so when I saw it come out, I was like, oh my god, this is so crazy. It was only in like the front row for like 15 minutes, because I was a bit worried that my hearing was gonna get like way too fucked up. I had hearing protection, but even still, it's like, it's so loud and it's so much bass that you're like, oh boy, maybe I'm fine, but I feel like I'm not, so I'm gonna get the fuck away a little bit. And yeah, so yeah, anyways, dude, if you haven't checked out this album, check it out. You're probably not gonna like every track, but I don't think that was the intention anyway. I think that if you make music that everybody loves, then I don't think that you're taking enough risks, right? Because if you're pleasing everybody, then you're pleasing nobody. And that's kind of just my general opinion about music and kind of anything as a whole. So I'm going to make a way more comprehensive video about the Voyd Volume 2, because I think that there is way more to dive into than I could cover off this video. Normally I kind of do more like scripted videos, but this video was kind of just like an idea that I had like a couple weeks ago, and then I wanted to record it like right after I saw Voyd, so I could kind of maybe give some more thoughts into, you know, what I thought about the whole like album and the Voyd project like 2 years later. I still think it's like the coolest thing that's happened to dubstep in probably since like Skrillex left. I think that Skrillex left a huge void in the dubstep scene, and Voyd is ironically here to fill it now, which is kind of funny to say. Voyd is here to fill the void that Skrillex left. But I think it's true. I think that the further we get into, you know, dubstep culture and dubstep history, I think we're going to see that, like, that's pretty much what's going to happen. Those are big words, and I don't know if I'm going to eat them one day. Maybe. Who knows? But I just want to thank you for watching. More videos like this coming soon, because fuck it, why not? These are kind of fun, and I have a lot of opinions about music, and I don't know if any of them are right or wrong, but I do have them, so I want to share them. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And Danny, if you see this ever, thank you. You are amazing, your music is amazing, and I respect the shit out of you. Thank you so much.